Have you ever been there? You're doing everything right. You're following the rules, but the scale just stops. It's one of the most frustrating things in the world. Well, today we're going to talk about a totally new way to look at that problem, a way to smash through that wall, all through the lens of one person's incredible story.
So, this is Anita, and after losing an amazing 130 pounds, she got stuck. Hard stuck. This quote right here just nails that feeling of hopelessness, you know? The idea that her future was just tiny, unsatisfying 1,200-calorie meals forever. I think a lot of us know that feeling. And that brings us to the wall, the infamous weight loss wall. It's that baffling point where all the tricks that got you this far, they just stop working. For Anita, after years of dedication and discipline, the rulebook she was using was suddenly useless.
I mean, look at her journey. This shows some serious commitment. This wasn't some weekend diet. She started with low carb, then she refined it to keto, and then she went full carnivore, which is where she saw this massive success. And even after all that, bam, a dead stop. Nothing. Okay, this is where it gets really interesting. Because when Anita hit that wall, she didn't double down on what wasn't working. She did something that sounds, well, kind of crazy. She decided to run a 90-day experiment that threw conventional wisdom right out the window.
So let's break it down. The old way, the one that had her stalled, that was a 1,200-calorie diet. The result? Zero weight loss. The new way? She jacked her calories way up to between 1,900 and 2,200 a day, focusing on a high-fat carnivore approach. That's a huge increase. So here's the million-dollar question, right? What do you think happens when you almost double your calories for 3 months straight after your weight loss has completely stalled? I mean, every diet book in the world would tell you you're going to gain weight.
And the result? Absolutely mind-blowing. After 90 days of eating so much more food, she gained 0 pounds. Zilch. Nada. She maintained her weight perfectly. This just completely turns that simple calorie math on its head.
You can see why this experience led her to say this. For her, in her body, the whole calories in, calories out model just fell apart. It wasn't true. It became crystal clear that for her, the number of calories was not the variable that mattered anymore.
So if it wasn't about calories, what was it about? Well, Anita's big breakthrough was realizing the goal wasn't to fight her body into losing more weight. The real goal had to be to heal her body first. Now, healing can sound kind of vague, but what she did was very concrete. She focused on the things that regulate hormones like insulin and leptin. She made sleep a priority. She worked on her circadian rhythm, getting that morning sun. She started resistance training, and she made sure to increase her healthy omega-3s. It's a whole-body approach. And it turns out she's not alone in this thinking. You hear experts like Dr. Chaffee saying the exact same thing. Get your hormones in check first. Heal your system. The body composition changes, the fat loss, that's the stuff that comes after. You can't even think about it until the foundation is solid. And here it is, the punchline. After those 90 days of eating more and focusing on all those healing factors, the magic happened. Her body, which now felt safe and nourished instead of starved and stressed, started to let go of the weight again. The stall was officially broken. All right, so you're probably wondering, how do I actually do this? Let's get into the nitty-gritty of a high-fat carnivore approach. And spoiler alert, it's not about just chugging butter. There's a strategy to it. A huge part of this is just choosing the right cuts of meat. You see things like short ribs or pork belly, they're already around 80% fat by calories. So you don't need to add a ton of extra fat on the side. The idea is to let the meat itself provide the fat because for a lot of people, that's just easier on the system. Now, if you're thinking about trying this, it's super important to start the right way. There are a few common mistakes that can totally trip you up right at the beginning and make you think it's not working. So, first things first, start slow. Do not jump from a standard American diet to an 80% fat diet overnight. You have to ease into it, give your gut time to adopt, or you're going to have a bad time. We're talking disaster pants level bad. A really key tip is to adjust your protein based on your ideal body weight.
not what you weigh now. And maybe the most important step of all, be patient. This is about healing, and 90 days is really just the beginning of that process.
And that leads us to the biggest objection, the one everyone always asks. Isn't eating only meat, fat, and water incredibly restrictive? It's a fair question.
But this is all about perspective, isn't it? Let's reframe what restriction really means. On one hand, yeah, you're restricting your food choices. But what about the other kind of restriction? The life restriction. Fearing that a plastic chair might break under you. Not being able to ride a roller coaster with your kids. That constant nagging obsession with food in your head all day. Which one of those is really more restrictive?
And that's really the final thought here from Anita herself. She says that when you finally get through that adaptation phase, what's on the other side isn't restriction. It's the greatest freedom of all. Freedom from your body holding you back. Freedom from that mental prison of food obsession. It's a pretty powerful idea to end on.